The world is changing now at a faster pace than ever. Two overused expressions that describe today's context are VUCA, which stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, and digital transformation. But what do these expressions really mean? Change, transformation, ambiguity. These are anxiety-feeding words, and the result, myths and misconceptions. Implementing RPA is a business transformation, a change in the processes, and an ambiguous affair. Naturally, myths have followed. In this video, we'll turn the spotlight on some of the most common myths about RPA and digital transformation. But first, let's establish a common language, just to make sure that when you read RPA, you don't think of the Rise of the Planet of the Apes movie. RPA, or Robotic Process Automation, is the technology that enables software robots to carry out repetitive, rule-based digital tasks. Humans, like Sally here, typically perform these tasks through the user interface, using the mouse and keyboard. RPA robots can mimic human actions, and they're typically more accurate, faster, and more consistent at it. Combined with artificial intelligence, or AI, RPA can target more sophisticated work. This opens up endless possibilities on the path towards the fully automated enterprise. Automation is a term that describes more accurately the possibilities that exceed the sphere of basic RPA. Sometimes we use these two terms interchangeably, given that RPA is still at the core of automation. Now let's check what you know or heard about RPA and automation before diving further into what the technology can do. We'll look at 6 of the most encountered statements about RPA, automation, and digital transformation. This is your chance to discover if they're a myth or a fact. First one, RPA software robots are 100% accurate. What do you think? Is this a myth or a fact? This is a myth. RPA software robots can make mistakes, as they'll follow to the letter the instructions given. If the process is flawed from the beginning, the automation will be too. So, it's up to human employees to spot early in the automation process any mistakes present in the instructions and correct them. Otherwise, some work might need to be redone. Ready for the second statement? Any process that can be automated with RPA can also be automated using APIs and programming languages. A tricky one, but what do you think it is? Then why use RPA in the first place? Let's dig deeper here. Have you ever checked the weather on Google or used applications which ask you to sign in using social? Then you've already used APIs. Application Programming Interface, or API, helps applications to communicate with each other, even if they're using different technologies. In turn, developers need to have adequate knowledge about the technologies being used. This translates into a steeper learning curve, higher costs, and greater time to market. And there'll be scalability challenges, as some processes will need to be redesigned before automation. RPA, on the other hand, is non-invasive because it aims to automate the processes as human users perform them. This makes it a scalable approach. Now our third statement. RPA will not work in my industry. What do you think? This is a common misconception. Many believe that RPA is productive only in certain industries, such as finance. However, automatable tasks exist in every industry. RPA can be applied to almost any repetitive, rule-based, high-volume business activity in any industry, such as retail, insurance, banking, manufacturing, healthcare, and many others. And with the rise of citizen development through no-code software, even CEOs can personally automate some of their daily tasks. Okay, how about RPA is not worth the cost of investment? Is this a myth? Or is it a fact? Although RPA does have initial implementation costs, the investment is less significant than implementing a business process management software, also known as BPM, or Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP. At the same time, RPA provides rapid internal cost reduction and significant increases in ROI. Some of the benefits the technology brings would be the reduction of operating costs, an increase in task efficiency, a reduction in compliance errors and risks, improved customer experience, an increase in employee satisfaction and engagement, and the acceleration of digital transformation. What do you think about this statement? Digital transformation is a strategic, purely technological project and must be managed centrally. This statement is another myth. As UiPath envisions enabling every customer to deliver a robot for every person in their organization, the robot for every person vision will enable all employees to work smarter by using software robots to assist with their everyday tasks. This could mean a shift in the organizational culture to include automation as a normal part of the working day, as well as employee upskilling to empower all employees to use or develop automation. Final one, RPA is the same as BPM, a fable or a reality? Well, this is a myth as well. The confusion might come from the fact that both approaches have the same goal: making business processes more efficient and cost-effective. BPM, or Business Process Management, is an approach to document existing key processes and identify areas for improvement. It helps with tracking modified processes, their optimization, and building solutions from scratch. RPA, on the other hand, is software that mimics human actions and works on a more surface level. It aims at making processes work faster by replacing manual effort and not at process optimization. It targets routine, repetitive, and tedious tasks so that employees can focus on higher-level tasks which require creativity and decision-making, thus improving their productivity. To rephrase the 5 statements into facts, RPA robots are as precise as the processes you have set up for them to execute. Business process mastery is a key factor here. RPA is a non-invasive and scalable technology when it comes to automation, as opposed to other solutions. RPA can work in any industry. RPA provides rapid internal cost reduction and significant increases in ROI. Digital transformation is a people transformation project as much as a technical project. When it comes to RPA, employee upskilling is a key factor for all employees to use or develop automation. But what exactly is RPA? RPA is the technology that allows computer software to mimic actions typically performed by humans. These actions are mostly interactions with digital systems and are carried out within business processes. It's important to know that the computer software that executes the operations is called a robot. RPA robots can do many things, starting with extracting structured data from documents, signing into and running applications, opening emails and attachments, filling in forms, reading and writing to databases. They can also make calculations and connect to other systems, and so much more. As such, the robots interact with data and applications just as human workers do, using the mouse, the keyboard, and the user interfaces. So what do all of the above examples have in common? RPA primarily targets processes that are highly manual, repetitive, rule-based, and have a low exception rate and a standard electronic readable input. The human gets to keep the high-level activities for themselves, face-to-face interactions, or coming up with complex strategies. They can be dedicated to the things that make them irreplaceable. And depending on the automation scenario, work done in tandem by humans and robots can be of 5 types. On demand, meaning that the human user manually triggers the robot when needed. Side by side, with robots working behind the scenes. Interactive, when the user engages with robots before, during, and/or after the execution. Always on, meaning robots start processes automatically. And interconnected, In this case, a coordinated collection of processes run and react to each other, with humans and robots exchanging inputs. And this concludes our first video introducing RPA and automation. See you soon, and happy automation!